Are you ready to embark on two incredible journeys? To meet a grumpy dragon who loves pancakes, a mermaid who dreams of walking? Well, then let's get started with Whimsical Journeys, a collection of two short stories for young dreamers. Story 1, The Grumpy Dragon Who Loved Pancakes. Deep in the misty mountains lived a little dragon named Sparky. Now, dragons are known for being fearsome beasts who breathe fire and scare people silly, but not Sparky. You see, Sparky was a very small dragon with big dreams. He wanted to be a famous adventurer like those he read about in his storybooks. He longed to explore faraway lands, have exciting escapades, and maybe even discover a treasure or two. But there was one tiny problem. Sparky was really shy. So much so that he couldn't even leave his cave, let alone go on an adventure. One day, though, Sparky was so overcome with the desire to see the world that he decided he just had to do it. He took a deep breath, opened his cave door and poked his head out. The first thing he saw was a beautiful field full of flowers and yummy food, and then he heard the most amazing sound, sizzling bacon and sweet singing. Sparky followed the sound until he came across a small cottage with smoke curling from its chimney and a delicious smell wafting through the air. Suddenly, the door opened and out popped a little girl holding a plate piled high with fluffy pancakes. "Hello," said Sparky, trying to sound brave. "Would you mind if I, a small hungry dragon, ate those pancakes?" The girl jumped and dropped her plate. "A talking dragon," she exclaimed, her eyes wide with surprise. "I've never seen one before. Of course, you can eat my pancakes. In fact, why don't you come inside and have some tea as well?" As they sat at the table, the girl told Sparky that her name was Tilly, and that she lived in this little cottage with her mother. And Sparky told them all about his adventures, or rather, his lack thereof. Tilly looked at Sparky with understanding. "You want to have an adventure, don't you?" she asked. And when Sparky nodded, she smiled. "Well, we can't have a talking dragon for tea, can we? An adventure, please." Tilly's mom handed Sparky a map. "Here's the Whispering Woods," she said. "And beyond that is the Sparkling River. It's quite a walk, but I'm sure you'll have a wonderful time." Sparky thanked them and set off toward the woods, feeling braver with every step. Soon, he was having the grand adventure he'd always dreamed of, exploring the Whispering Woods. He was so excited that he did not notice the tears rolling down Tilly's cheeks, until a little rabbit hopped up to him. "What's wrong, little dragon?" he asked. "Why are you crying?" Startled, Sparky jumped and nearly knocked the rabbit over. "Oh, I'm sorry," he said. "I didn't mean to startle you." The rabbit shook himself and smiled. "It's all right, I'm used to it. People often stumble into the woods without paying attention. You dragons really should be more aware of your surroundings, you know." Then he wiggled his nose. "But enough about me. Why are you sad?" Sparky hesitated. I wanted to have an adventure," he said quietly, "but I guess I'm not brave enough." The rabbit looked at Sparky for a moment. "Being brave isn't about how loudly you roar," he said softly. "It's about facing what scares you so that you can experience something new." Sparky thought about this as he continued his walk. He realized that the real adventure wasn't about slaying fierce beasts or discovering lost treasures. It was about being brave enough to face his fears and try something new. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what he'd been doing all along. Feeling a surge of confidence, Sparky continued his journey to the Sparkling River. He splashed through the water, climbed tall trees and even made a new friend, a wise old turtle named Shelly, who told him stories of her travels. By the time Sparky returned home, he realized that the greatest adventure was the friends he'd made along the way. And as he settled in for a cozy night with Tilly and her mom, he knew that his life would never be the same again. Story 2, The Mermaid Who Wanted to Walk. In a kingdom beneath the sparkling waves lived a mermaid, named Coral. Now mermaids are known for their enchanting songs and their shimmering tails, but not Coral. You see, Coral yearned to explore the world above the water and walk on land like the humans did. She dreamed of strolling on sandy beaches, skipping along grassy meadows, and dancing in the moonlight. But other mermaids just didn't understand her fascination with land. They much preferred swimming in the ocean where everything was wet, and there were no pesky things like rocks or sticks. But Coral couldn't help it. Every time she surfaced and saw the world around her, she felt an overwhelming urge to explore. One day, Coral was swimming near the shore, when she spotted a group of children building a sandcastle. She watched them as they laughed and played, and a deep longing filled her heart. "That's it," she thought. "I'm going to build a sandcastle too." But how could she do that with a tail? Coral swam closer to shore and waded into the shallows. As the water receded, her tail was exposed and she quickly hid it behind a rock. Then, taking a deep breath, she pushed herself up onto the sand with her arms. At first it was difficult, but slowly she began to get the hang of it. After a bit, she was scooting along the beach like a crab, her arms working in unison to keep her upright. But then a large wave crashed over her hiding spot and washed away her carefully constructed wall. Dejected, Coral retreated back into the water. Maybe it was impossible for her to ever walk on land, she thought sadly. Just then, a wise old seahorse swam up to her. "Why are you so upset, Coral?" he asked. Startled, Coral turned around. "Oh, Mr. Seahorse," she said, "I want to walk on land like the humans do, but I can't seem to manage it with this silly tail of mine." The seahorse chuckled. "Walking isn't just about where you put your feet," he said knowingly. "It's also about the strength in your heart." Coral looked at him, confused, but the seahorse didn't elaborate. Instead, he gestured toward the shore with his tail. "Go on, give it another try." Coral hesitated, then took another deep breath and waded into the shallows. This time, instead of hiding her tail, she held it high above her head. With newfound determination, she pushed herself up onto the sand and began scooting along the beach. At first it was hard, but as she walked, she felt a sense of freedom and joy she'd never experienced before. The wind in her hair, the sun on her skin, the sand between her toes, it was all so new and exhilarating. She didn't realize that the humans had gathered around, watching her in awe until one of them called out, "Look, she's walking. She's actually walking." Coral froze and her heart sank. What if they were scared of her? What if they tried to hurt her? But then something amazing happened. The children didn't scream or run away. They cheered and clapped, and one of them shouted, "That's incredible. Can you teach me?" And just like that, Coral went from being a mermaid who could walk to a teacher who could inspire others to follow their dreams. And that's all for our whimsical journey today. If you enjoyed these tales, don't forget to subscribe for more enchanting stories. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep believing, and always remember the magic is real if you just open your heart to see it.